Welcome back to episode number 5. And as promised, I am going to take you through a full day of eating in this one. You'll see that there are some videos of me actually sort of preparing meals, and others I'm going to show you a few sort of pictures and stuff because I am notoriously bad at filming myself when it comes to food. But I'll talk you through everything that we're doing in just a moment. But let's start with the physique update as we always do. So here you'll see in the pictures, noticeably leaner this week. I think this week feels like it's been the one that's seen the most amount of visual change so far. Down another pound and a half on average, and a couple of pounds from the week to week movement. So we are now into the 170s, which is what I wanted to see. We hit 179 today. So from that starting point of 186 4 weeks ago, down to 179 as of today, which is £8 in the space of those 4 weeks. Which is a really solid rate of loss. As I say, about £2 a week. It's about a little bit more than 1% of my total body weight per week, and things moving in the right direction. So like I say, let's looking at these pictures, I can definitely see the visual changes now. More and more of that definition starting to come through. I feel like the stomach isn't carrying quite so much of that bloat either, which is really nice. As as food starts to go up, as body weight creeps up, naturally that tends to bring with it a little bit more around the stomach, and that's just where I hold all of my weight. So that seeing a bit of movement in there is always a nice one. I won't see like real change for a little while yet. Just again, it's typical of where my body's at and the way it holds stuff. But yeah, we're moving in the right direction for sure. So as I say, pound and a half down on average, 2 from the week to week, and £8 down since the very start. Let's get into the food, shall we? Actually, before we go into the food side of things, the eagle-eyed among you might notice something different about me today, and that is because we got new glasses over the weekend. I may have mentioned that I had an eye test in the last one. I'm trying to remember when the eye test was. I think I'd had the eye test a week and a half ago, and then went to the opticians last week, picked out the glasses, got them all ordered, and then we picked them up weekend just gone. So yeah, first showing for the new glasses. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Relatively easy to find, and the whole process was really simple, and it's actually amazing how big a difference it's made having some new spectacles. I genuinely thought my old ones were fine, not too bad at all, despite the fact that the opticians telling me, both when I had my eyes tested, they said, your prescriptions changed quite a lot. And when I went into the opticians, they took one look at my old glasses, asked me how long I'd had them, and they were pretty shocked at when I said about 10 years. So yeah, they definitely needed a change. But here we are with the new spectacles. So hopefully you like these just as much as I do. But now we can get into the food side. So let's dig in. First thing you'll see here are my total daily calories and macros. So this is where I'm currently at on my training day. So I'm going to talk you through a training day today. We'll do a rest day another day, but training days are first up. So you'll see from the totals here that we're aiming for 165 protein. We're looking at 325 carb, and we're looking at 45 fat, for a total of 2,365 calories. So around about 2,350 to 2,400. And you'll see from those as well that those are split down into 4 primary meals plus an intra-workout drink. So a drink that I have during my training session just to give me an added little boost. I mentioned in the first video that I've changed things a little bit from I used to be someone who'd eat 5, 6, 7 times a day. 4 meals I've just found works for me with where I'm at in life, with how busy life gets. 4 meals is working really well for me. So that is the way that these are split. So I'm going to talk you through, and for me, like day to day, things remain pretty samey. So again, when we're talking about, you'll hear a lot of people talk about meal plans, about calories and macros, about tracking things in apps. It really depends what suits best you. And when I've got my coaching hat on, I'm always going to do what's best suited for my clients. Me personally, I much prefer to have a plan to follow. So my meals are very samey day to day. I'll mention to you as we're talking through the individual meals where I do have a little bit more variety. but that just makes my life easy. I know what my meals are during the day. I know how much of them. I know what I'm shopping for when I'm doing the shopping. I can prep stuff in advance. I can get stuff all ready. For me, following a plan just makes my life really, really easy, takes away all of that thought process around food, and I enjoy what I eat. And so for me, that's what works. But as I say, if I'm talking to clients and we're thinking about them, I have clients who track, I have clients who follow meal plans, I have clients who are a bit more intuitive around food, some that are a bit more hybrid in their approach. Like daytime meals might be very, very samey, but evening meals, there's more of a sort of freedom to do stuff. We have weekday plans and weekend plans, weekday calories and macros, weekend calories and macros. Whatever works best for the individual to enjoy and remain consistent, that's always where the progress is going to happen. So let's have a look at these meals. So the first meal that I eat is my pre-workout meal. So usually we're up about 6, half 6 in the morning. That's Louis' typical wake up time at the moment. So we get up, feed him, and then usually I'm eating this meal at about sometime between 7 and half 7 in the morning before we go and drop Louis off at the childminder for around about 8 o'clock. So very, very simple, this one. Oats, protein powder, some frozen berries, and some dark chocolate, with a little bit of salt in there as well. And I know some people are going to say, salt in your oats, you must be mental. Bloody good. Give it a go. A little bit of a boost to the electrolytes in there. So 80 grams of oats. To get 40 grams of protein from whey, so just on that quickly, protein powders will vary in their amount of protein content. So if you're trying to get 40 grams of protein, you'll just need to check on your the amount of protein that's in your particular product. So to give you a really simple example, say you look on the back and you've got a protein powder that's giving you 80 grams of protein per 100 grams. You're going to want 50 grams of that protein powder to meet 40 grams of actual protein in there. So 80 grams of oats in total, 40 grams of protein from whey, 100 grams of frozen berries, and 30 grams of dark chocolate. Get those all mixed in. What I've recently done this week for the first time is started to have it more as an overnight oat, so having it cold, getting that all put in a mixture the night before, getting some water in there, and then just letting it sit in the fridge so all of the oats just soak. That was actually really, really nice this morning. What I have done previously is put all of those ingredients into the bowl in the morning, added my water, and then blitzed it in the microwave to make it into more of like a hot porridge. I also at the moment am using rolled oats. Sometimes I'll use powdered oats because they just digest a little bit easier. And what I'll tend to do when I'm dieting is switch to a rolled oat, just because it's a little bit more filling, a little bit more voluminous. And in my growth phases, where I'm trying to gain weight and gain muscle, I'll usually switch over to a powdered version just because it's easier to eat more of. So just as a little bit of a tip there, if that's something that you want, trying to get a bit more food volume in is quite important in these situations, especially when you're dieting. You want to feel a bit fuller for as long as possible. Try and find foods that give you a lot of volume. So that's the pre-workout meal. Meal number 1 that is eaten at around 7, half 7 in the morning. I then train, usually I try and be in the gym around about 9:30. So 9:30, 10 o'clock. So once Louis been dropped off, I'll get a block of work done and then I'll go to the gym. So my pre-workouts have plenty of time to digest. My intra-workout shake has 15 grams of EAAs, another couple of grams of salt, 5 grams of creatine, and 25 grams of highly branched cyclic dextrin, which is just a carbohydrate powder. So you can use other things like there's dextrose, maltodextrin, waxy maize starch. For me, highly branched cyclic dextrin is just one that digests really, really well. So that's one that I like to have. It is more expensive, but in my opinion, it is a slightly better quality. So that's what goes into my intra with 1 litre to 1.5 litres of water. And I sip that throughout my session to give me that little bit of additional boost when I'm training. So then the post-workout meal, usually this gets eaten about midday. So I've probably finished training. If I'm there 9:30, 10 o'clock, I'm usually in the gym an hour to an hour and 15, plus a little bit of cardio at the moment. So, I'm probably getting back at like 11, 11, half 11. get a little bit more work done, have my next meal at 12 o'clock, and that is a very bodybuilding staple. It is a chicken and rice meal. So again, at the moment, we're looking at trying to aim for 125 carb in that meal, 40 grams of protein, and as little fat as possible. Obviously, there's going to be a bit of trace fat in the chicken, but you know we're looking at the main ingredients here. And because I follow more of a plan, tracking every single item isn't as important. My food's very similar day to day, so I know that when changes are made, it's getting made to the same foods. So what we go into there, 200 grams of chicken breast goes in there. Plus, we're looking at the moment about 75 grams of rice plus some pineapple to get the carbs in. Just making sure that we're doing what we need to do in those as well. As I say, keeping that as low fat as possible. Just making sure that we're getting enough of that food that's going in there. So yeah, that's my post workout meal. Relatively simple, very much bodybuilder staple. And just trying to get as much bulk in there as well. So plenty of veg goes in there. At the moment, I've been buying frozen veg just from an ease point of view. I'm getting through quite a lot of veg as well, so it just keeps a bit better in the freezer. Throwing a good chunk of that in. I don't tend to measure that just because I know roughly what I'm doing from an eyeballing point of view. And it's also pretty low sort of calories. So in terms of the additional calories that are being added, it's minimal. So yeah, that is the post-workout meal that goes in about midday. Next meal is one that I really, really like. It's a yogurt meal. So this I'll normally have about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. 0% fat yogurt, little bit of whey in there just to give it a bit of booster protein, plus some fruit, a little bit of frozen berries is normally going into there. Again, around about 100 grams, plus some cereal. So 45 grams of low fat cereal. At the moment, I'm using cornflakes, but you can use, Cocoa Pops, Rice Krispies, all of those kind of things, just something that's low fat. 45 grams of that goes into there. And that is a nice, quick and easy snack that I have about 4 o'clock. So, I've done another batch of work, little break to have a little bite to eat. And then we're good to go. So meal number 4, quick and easy yogurt meal. And then the final meal of the day, this is one where we can have a little bit more variety. So I usually go with a beef option, a lean beef option. So lean beef mince or lean steak. If it's beef mince, then the usual go-tos for us at the moment are a chili con carne, a spaghetti bolognese. I've been making some really nice beef koftas recently, which I'll go for a recipe for at some point as well. Or it might just be a simple steak. So just making sure, again, we're meeting those calories and macros, whether that's rice, whether that's potatoes. Again, potatoes are quite a good sort of diet food just because they add a bit more volume to stuff. Maybe a little bit of pasta, again, depending on how I feel and what we're having with that. I tend to stick primarily to rice, pasta and potatoes just because I know they digest well and they sit well with me. So those are my typical go-tos when it comes to carb sources, plus obviously the cereal or the oats when we come to earlier in the day. But this just gives me a bit of variety in my evening meals as well. It also means that, if it was left just to me and it was only me that I was cooking for, I would potentially eat the same thing multiple times per week. But Lara doesn't want to do that. So, we tend to have a little bit more variety. And it's quite nice to have the variety. They're similar in terms of what's going into them. If it's a chili or a spag bol, like you're getting a very, very small amount of calories added from a tin of chopped tomatoes. And that's about it. You're putting lots of veg in there. You're putting some herbs and spices in there. You can also make a big batch of that. So, a big pack of like 500 gram pack of mince can go in there and that can make 3 or 4 portions worth. The koftas are a really, really nice one that we're doing at the moment. So again, really easy. Put the beef mince, onions and peppers, finely chop those, put those in, add a load of spices. So I've been adding like a tandoori spice, some cumin, some coriander, salt and pepper. Let that sit for a little bit and then you can make those into like little balls or little koftas. Bang them in the air fryer for 20 minutes and they come out absolutely perfect. And then you can serve those with whatever you want to serve them with. So, potatoes, rice, a nice big salad, some veg in there as well. And this just really, really fills me up for the evening meal. So there you have it. A food day in the life, a full day of eating, I should say. I keep saying like day in the life of food. A full day of eating is what that's called. Hopefully that gives you a little bit of an insight into where I'm at the moment and where my food is at the moment. But any questions on that, do give us a shout. Do let us know. This is where we're at currently. We're seeing that weight continue to come down. We're seeing the physique like coming in nicely. Let's keep up the good work. Let's keep pushing, and hopefully we'll be another couple of pounds down next week.